The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the third day of December 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can do this with you on a regular basis and pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman, and we'll have a news break from Teo Dill in a bit. How's everyone feeling today? It is what you all call hump day today. It's hump day. It's the middle of the traditional work week in the final month of the calendar year. Yes, we have only about 27 days to go, 27 full days to go after today in the calendar year of 2025. How's everyone feeling though? Are you good? Are you excited? I know like some people feel at the end of the year, oh, it's so much pressure. I've got to get this done before the end of the year to meet my goals. Folks, relax. Honestly, I know I probably shouldn't say that in a broad way, like just relax, because we all face different challenges. But it's like being late for work, right? At the end of the day, if it becomes a habit, yeah, it's wrong. But if you're just once or twice out of a whole year, just take it. It's better than not making it at all, right? So don't put too much pressure on yourself. If you're able, just allow life to happen. Play your role, obviously, but don't put too much pressure on yourself, all right? Suzanne Ingham says it's a super awesome pre Sherry Day. Jamal and Teo, Sherry Day will be here again. You just don't want to see us. So you love Fridays, so you don't have to see us for a couple of days. I got you. I see how you move, Suzanne. We got you. Anyway, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Mike Simmons on. We're going to be discussing his role in Thoughts Become Things and the importance of Donquili, which is an African dance that he teaches and performs in Bermuda. So really looking forward to the conversation. Folks, you know we love these kind of conversations when we're talking about history and culture and traditions and connection throughout the diaspora. So looking forward to the conversation with Mike. The Daily Play is going to be more holiday trivia today, folks. So get your singing, thinking, dancing caps on, if that makes sense. Yeah. Thinking cap, dancing caps. Yeah. We'll rock with it. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Let's jump right into our question for the day, though. What are your thoughts on long sentences for drug importation? And do you think 18 years for importing drugs is excessive when compared with other serious crimes? Well, where is that coming from, Jamal? Well, folks, someone decided that they were going to, well, let me read it from the Royal Gazette. So our friends at the Royal Gazette, drug smuggler jailed 18 years for 2023 plot. A Guyanese man who was found guilty of a plot to smuggle drugs into Bermuda was sentenced to 18 years behind bars. It says Alexa Gill, 31, was convicted by a unanimous verdict this year of importing $676,736 of cannabis and liquid cocaine from Canada to Bermuda on March 4th, 2023. While Gill told police that he had agreed to smuggle the drugs into the country to clear a debt, he claimed during the trial that the admission was a lie he had invented based on advice he received from a lawyer. After he was found guilty, he admitted the offense and apologized for wasting the court's time. Puny Judge Juan Wolf said the scourge of drugs had torn the social fabric of the community apart and devastated families across the island. He said any sentence given out by this court must send a clear message to Bermudians and foreigners alike that if you import into these islands serious drugs such as cannabis and cocaine, then an immediate custodial sentence will be delivered. Mr. Wolf sentenced Gill to 18 years behind bars for the cocaine importation and 12 years for cannabis importation and ordered the sentences to run concurrently. He said written reasons for the sentence and decision would be handed down in the next 6 weeks. During his trial, the jury heard that Gill, who lived in Canada, flew to the island from JGH on a WestJet flight from Toronto on March 2nd, 2023. However, one of their suitcases missed the flight and only arrived in Bermuda on an Air Canada flight 2 days later. A search of the suitcase when it arrived on island revealed 6 bricks of plant material, later confirmed to be 9,472.6 grams of cannabis, and a bottle of whiskey, which was found to contain liquid cocaine from 812.4 grams of the controlled drug was extracted. Both Gill and Miss George Horsford were arrested and during a personal search found cannabis and a grinder in their possession. So all that to say, 18 years for this gentleman. And there are quite a few people in our community who feel like this sentence is excessive, comparatively speaking. So let's get into it. First of all, audience, yes or no, do you think 18 years for importing drugs is excessive when compared with other serious crimes? Do you believe that is an excessive sentence? I want to go to a few articles, though. So only recently, I think just last week, a man who had accessed child pornography was sentenced to 2 years behind bars. Yeah, with half the term suspended. So Brian Bennett, 53, had admitted accessing 2 types of child pornography during an earlier appearance in magistrate's court after he initially denied the offenses. So 2 years with behind bars, with half his term suspended, right? So that's child pornography. We then have another instance where a man convicted in 2022, Malik Martin, was convicted in 2022 of 2 counts of sexual exploitation of a young person by a person in a position of trust, and 1 count of showing offensive material to a child. And he was subsequently sentenced to 13 and a half years, 16 years and 6 years respectively, to run concurrently for a total of 16 years, with that sentence to be followed by a supervised order. So I completely understand why people will say that the sentencing for drug importation is excessive when you look at crimes of, serious crimes of that nature. I haven't even gotten into like serious assault or the murders and the violent stuff. Just speaking about vulnerable people, it seems excessive. No, this may offend people. Look, we all make mistakes, right? There are such many people who hit hard times and they do things just to survive. And I don't want to judge people. I don't, because I don't know their circumstances. We don't know what may happen. Someone said it recently. Some of us are one paycheck away from harder times, rough times. Some are one medical emergency away from harder times, from rough times. So I want to just keep in context and be respectful in this discussion as we have it. right? And I'm not making excuses for anyone at all. I understand the damage, and I agree with the magistrate, Juan Wolf. I agree with him. Drugs have wreaked havoc on our community. They have. That's real. They've done damage in our community. And I appreciate that he's saying we have to set something down, like we have to draw a hard line. We do. So I'm not sure if the argument is that the sentence is too excessive, or is the argument it's excessive, comparatively speaking, to more serious crimes. So for me, my thoughts immediately are, if I'm a legislator, I'm looking at this sentence and saying, well, how did someone just get 2 years last week? Child pornography. Then we look at the cases where people have been in prison for child-like crimes. They haven't gotten anywhere near 18 years. I think it's more something wrong with the sentencing rather than, and again, the way we're going to look at it from the public, we're going to look at it like that's excessive because we're comparing it with stuff. And I hope that those who are responsible, the legislators, take that into consideration. But again, audience, it's not about me, it's about you. What are your thoughts on long sentences for drug importation? And do you think 18 years for importing drugs is excessive when compared with other serious crimes? Well, let's go to you. Dr. Anthony Richardson, he says, depends on the value, amount, and type of drug found. Need to keep in mind that the sentences imposed are to punish and to deter. Needing to deter drug smugglers from seeing Bermuda as a soft touch, easy to smuggle drugs. Need to also consider the negative impact of the drugs on Bermuda society. I agree. And I agree with you, Dr. Anthony Richardson. That's why I'm like, I know people will say, oh, 18 years for drugs, that's too long. I think when you're doing it comparatively, maybe it seems excessive. But that doesn't mean that the sentence is too long. It just means the other sentences may be too short. That makes sense, audience? Am I making sense? This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Kenton Trott says, good morning, TDH family. I think the sentences for drugs are appropriate. However, the sentencing for other serious crimes should be increased. I think we're aligned, audience. I think we are aligned. I think we're aligned. I honestly think we're aligned. But I'm happy for those who oppose what I'm thinking, because I agree with Kenton Trott. I think the sentence of 18 years could be appropriate. I think the judge, in reading what the judge said, and obviously I was not in court, I'm only reading based on what was in the Royal Gazette. The judge is literally simply saying, look, drugs have wreaked havoc in our society, and we have to send a message. I think what we're asking in the community is for the legislators to ensure that the other serious crimes face stiffer penalties as well. Edward Matthews says at $90,000 per year for housing a prisoner for 18 years, the cost to our resources will be almost $2 million. Additional burden to the country, Lou Edward Matthews says, isn't deportation a better option notwithstanding? So let's talk about that. I hear you, Lou. I hear you. I do. But deportation, after how long? Because are you saying deportation and that person must serve time in their jurisdiction where they are a resident or a citizen? Because if you're telling me that I can import something somewhere, like commit a crime, and because of the cost of housing me in the prison, they're just going to say, oh, no, just deport. And now I can live freely and not have to face consequences for my actions. Like, I get what you're saying, but how do we maintain that people who break Bermuda's laws face consequences? I don't know. You help me. Suzanne Ingham says, if drugs is 18 years, then sexual offenses need to be 18 years too. When it comes to a minor, it should be more. They destroyed a child's life and cannot convince me they haven't destroyed child's life. Well, like I said, and for those who are just tuning in, we're talking about the sentence handed down to a Guyanese man found guilty of trying to smuggle drugs into Bermuda, sentenced to 18 years behind bars. 18 years, a total of almost $700,000 of cannabis and liquid cocaine is what they were responsible or convicted of by a unanimous jury verdict as well. Puny Judge Wan Wu said the scourge of drugs had torn the social fabric of this community apart and devastated families across the island. And he wanted to send a clear message. The judge wanted to send a clear message to deter Bermudians and foreigners from doing this kind of thing. So again, the question to all of you this morning is, what are your thoughts on long sentences for drug importation? And do you think that 18 years for importing drugs is excessive when compared with other serious crimes in Bermuda? Now, you heard that. And so I did go just last week. The Royal Gazette reported a man who accessed child pornography was sentenced to 2 years behind bars with half his term suspended. So Brian Bennett, 53-year-old, had admitted accessing 2 types of child pornography during an earlier appearance in magistrate's court after he initially denied the offenses that took place between 2017 of December and March of 2018. Prosecutors decided not to proceed on an allegation that he accessed a 3rd kind of child pornography. He's got to complete 1 year of probation upon being released and be added to sex offenders register, right? So you read that last week. And then also we had the case where this gentleman is seeking to appeal his sentence of Maliki Martin, who was convicted in 2022 of 2 counts of sexual exploitation of a young person by a person in a position of trust and 1 count of showing offensive material to a child. He was sentenced to imprisonment for 13 and a half years, 16 years, and 6 years, respectively, to run concurrently for a total of 16 years, with that sentence to be followed by a supervision order. So this person was, in fact, sentenced to less time. I mean, again, this is not a criticism of puny Judge Wolf at all, because I am actually okay, and you all may disagree with me. I'm okay with the 18-year sentence. Let me be very clear. What I'm not okay with is seeing people commit even more serious, heinous crimes and getting less time. And this is not on the judge. This would be on the legislators. And that's where we need to make our voices heard. That's where we need to be the voice for the voiceless and the abused and the victims. That makes sense to you all? Now, again, I know some of you do have an issue with the 18-year sentence, and that's fine. That's fine. My issue here is that, comparatively speaking, I don't think it's a good look. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, need to define serious, even when drafting legislation. It's difficult to determine what is serious. It's easier said than done. They serve the time here and then are deported. Yeah, I agree with that. Serious crime is, to me, just give my meaning, is any crime that involves vulnerable people and obviously physical harm, right? Some may say, well, financial crime can be serious crime. I had a professor. He was the director of my MBA program. And this is how I always looked at prison and crime. And he said, I don't believe people who are not a threat to society should be in prison. Just because you break the law, I don't believe you should be in prison. What he was referring to was, at the time, it was Barry Bonds, but the Balco case was going on. Barry Bonds was a baseball player and never been proven that he used steroids or anything, but it's always hung over his head. Never admitted it, never into this. And people were like, oh, he should go to prison and so on. And the professor's point was that there are some people who do things that are ethically or morally wrong, but they're not a threat to other people. No, financial crimes, yeah, you are a threat to other people. Let's be clear. Like, you've seen some crimes in Bermuda where you've had people take advantage of vulnerable elderly people, take their life savings. But there are some crimes that we won't deem serious. For instance, I'm trying to think of one, folks, because the one I thought of, I'm like, nah, that causes harm to people. I was thinking about burning trash is a crime, but it's not causing. And I'm like, yeah, it does, because you're inhaling smoke. So give me some time. Give me some time. A parking ticket. A parking ticket. If you keep getting parking tickets and don't pay them, right, and it racks up. So you got fine after fine after fine, right? You're not causing harm to anyone, but you're breaking the law because you keep parking illegally, right? And you're not paying your fines. That's a perfect example of not a serious crime. And where people probably shouldn't have to serve time. They're not a threat to society simply for, not paying the parking. Taxes, for instance. People don't pay taxes. Are they really a threat to society, or are they standing up for them? Anyway, let's get back to the audience. We've got Mike Simmons coming on. All right, so Juan de Bermudez, love the name. We only have so much capacity at our prison, and we have absolutely no plans to increase capacity. I really hope we're not scaling sentencing for capacity. Yeah, I would hope not. Canet Island Burgess, Island Empress, Burgess, says abuse and sexual acts should be more than drug use, in my opinion. But drug dealing, especially to youth and those marginalized needs, be just as excessive as abuse, violence, death, in my opinion. I concur. I concur, because again, someone mentioned the amount earlier, and again, I agree with Puny Judge Wolf. It's like we've seen drugs wreak havoc in our community audience. Seriously. I don't want to see people strong. I've seen it. Was it Baltimore or Philadelphia? A video where people were. It was bad. I don't want to see that for Bermuda. Michelle White says 18 years in our prison hotel. He's gotten off too easy. Is it possible to deport but arrange for agreement to be in his home jail or not run free? I've never been to prison in Bermuda, so I'm not going to sit here and say whether it's a hotel or not. But what I will say is, if I'm in prison, I'm not able to do the things that I like to do. So I like staying in a hotel for somewhere to sleep when I travel, but it's not somewhere I would want to stay, if that makes sense. So, yeah. She also says, would we still have to pay for him if he's returned to his home jail? No, and I don't know what agreements we have with other countries. But that would be an interesting conversation, maybe something to consider. Lou Edward Matthews says, remove the threat to community, place on Guyania's radar for drug importation. On another angle, is this a governance issue over what we value? The magistrate has the right sentiment, but we aren't set up to govern through the judiciary. Okay, fair enough. I get you. But something about that, Lou Edward Matthews, it just seems, maybe I'm making it difficult the way I'm looking at it. I take your point, though. Ms. Ellen K. Horton says, I fully agree with 18 years. Okay. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, come down to the facts of the case. Best to read judge's judgment or listen to judicial decision to figure out the facts. Yeah, in fairness, folks, Puny Judge Juan Wolf did say that he said written reasons for the sentencing decision would be handed down in the next 6 weeks. So maybe we can revisit in the new year. But thank you for that, Dr. Anthony Richardson. All right, folks, this is your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. We've got Mike coming up, and we've got to, make sure we've got time and space to have a very important conversation. I'm loving this. It's the second person we've got behind the film Thoughts Become Things, so you don't want to miss this conversation. We've got to go to Teo for the news break first, but before we even do that, we're going to show some love to Titan Express and Secure, and then I'm going to tell you, then we'll take our break. But if you appreciate the conversation so far, if you're streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram, please do us a favor and hit that like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. And look, we need to have a conversation with our legislators. While we appreciate the sentence handed down by Puny Judge Juan Wolf, we want to revisit how we sentence those and maybe classify what many deem more serious crimes. All right, let's show some love to Titan Express and Secure.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All right, let's get over to Teo Dill, see what he's got for us in the news break today.
Good morning, I'm Teo Dill, and welcome to your TDH News Break from the great folks at Peoples. From prescriptions to daily essentials, Peoples Pharmacy is where wellness begins and community grows together. And shout out and very well done to Dominique Williams for telling an essential part of Bermuda's cultural story with a leading New England-based news outlet. The website, WBUR.org, published a long-form article called, quote, The Hidden History of Indigenous Slavery in New England and Beyond, which centered around the part that our island plays in this hidden history. According to the article, in the 1600s, white settlers of what became the U.S. were enslaving indigenous native folks. Some worked in New England, others were sold overseas, and some, like Dominique's ancestors, were kidnapped and shipped to an isolated tropical island, aka Bermuda. In fact, much of Bermuda's native population comes from the Pequot War in the 1630s, when colonists slaughtered and enslaved Connecticut communities who were then sold off in Bermuda. However, due to the U.S. government's efforts to erase the record of native enslavement in the Northeast, it's difficult to track down the history. All that said, you should really check out this article. It's on WBUR.org. And Bermuda's opportunity to become a global trendsetter when it comes to sustainable agriculture was highlighted in a recent published video on a YouTube channel with tens of thousands of followers. This episode of Beneath the Surface, that's the name of the channel, investigated how freshwater scarcity, climate change, and food security are top of mind for Bermuda's future, asking local experts if we can locally guarantee that all our people have access to food and water. Leading agronomist Malachi Simons made it clear that the opportunities are obvious.
The wake-up call was COVID. People had nothing else to do, and they went to the shops. There was no food on the shelves. So they started to say, well, what do we do? Well, maybe if I get some seeds and go outside of my backyard, I can start to make a change. Since then, people have been reaching out for home gardens like what I have behind me, so that if anything happens again, they know that, one, they're sustainable, and two, they can eat fresh. We can slow down our imports and have better quality soil, better quality produce, and then we have a circular economy.
The legacy of race-based, state-sponsored slavery and the cultural devaluation of education are direct contributors to our ongoing cycle of gang murders. This from government anti-gang violence leader Leroy Bean during a recent episode of the Territories Talk live stream hosted by MP Chris Famous, where Pastor Bean noted that some of the most peaceful countries in the world all happen to share common characteristics.
The other thing that was quite important was, the general needs of individuals, whether it be having a home that is reasonable, that I don't have to get out and work 10 different jobs, or even having, food and medical care, general necessities. And so they found that each one of them had the same common denominator. And it was the same result, what was said about them as being some of the most peaceful countries in the world. So there are certain components that I think that these countries had, and I believe that we're starting to lose them because we're being priced out. And so here it is, we're looking at a high cost of living. People are battling whether they should get food or whether they should get medication. And as a result, we're finding that the general themes that should be met are not being met.
And today's weather should start off looking pretty gorgeous before the clouds and rain arrive sometime after lunch. This morning's high pressure is what will keep conditions bright and clear before the wind swings to the south, pushing blustery showers our way with a 22-knot south-southwesterly wind ceiling, while the air temps remain in the low 70s, high 60s. And that's your TDH News Break, brought to you by our friends at Peoples. I'm Teo Dill. Now back to the show.
Thank you much, Tay. Nice to see Malachi Simons as well. Haven't seen him in a while. Brilliant, Brontha, right there. For your days of the year, folks, it's Make a Gift Day. It's Make a Gift Day. And it's Let's Hug Day. Let's Hug Day. It's Choose Women Day. Yeah, Choose Women Day. It's Roof Over Your Head Day, right? So having compassion for those who are homeless or facing trials. It's International Disability Day. Yep, International Disability Day. And, well, Christmas tree lighting day for the Rockefeller Center. But for the purpose of fun, not for Christmas, just in general, what is the best gift you've had made or you've made for someone? The best gift you've had made or that you've made for someone. What is it? I'm going to say my sister and my nieces make me feel like an inventor, because things that I made in woodwork 30 years ago. Yeah, woodwork. That was a thing back when I was in school. My stool, my nieces use that like it's brand new. So I'm gonna say that I think those are the best gifts I've ever made. My stool that I made in woodwork over 30 years ago. Which tells me I was pretty good at it, because I probably am the only one in that class who still has my stool. And that tells you, when Jamal builds something, it lasts. All right. So anybody looking for a stool, don't reach out to me, because I don't remember what I did. My teacher probably helped me with it. And that's why my nieces have something sturdy to step on and sit on and use. But you audience, let us know. What's the best gift you've made or had made for you? Like physically made, obviously not by like a factory, but by someone close to you. Let us know. But also, since Suzanne is sending me a hug, I was trying to avoid that one, because you all know I'm not a hugger. But it's Let's Hug Day. Who's someone that you would love to hug today? We'll be back after this break, and I'll get back to you. But we're back with Mike Simmons. We're talking about thoughts become things and the crowning of the Gombey. Donquili. We'll see you in a few. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Take a look at our workbook for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast, so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Shoe bite? You can't say that. Oh, sorry. I'm just here practicing for my family game night this Christmas. Check it out. Shoe bite, Bermuda's own twist on the classic word guessing game, is here. Get ready for laughter, friendly chaos, and a whole lot of Bermuda flavor. And here's the best part. One lucky box has a golden ticket with a grand prize courtesy of One Communications. So visit BermudaTrivia.com to find out where to get yours today. Now, shoe bite, I'm trying to practice for my family game night.
At HSBC, how we do business in our community is as important to us as what we do for our community.
This is the 6th year that HSBC has graciously participate at no cost. Everything is provided for them thanks to HSBC, and we really want to thank them for their support with this program.
Thank you to all of the charities, corporate partners, and HSBC volunteers for your commitment to our community.
Every space has a message, whether it's a store, a government office, or a doctor's waiting room. With Store Tunes Radio, transform your environment with customized music and professional messaging that keeps people informed, engaged, and at ease. Easy to use, built for organizations of every kind. Powered by Bermuda Communications Group. Store Tunes Radio, the soundtrack to better customer experiences. Visit storetunesradio.com to learn more. Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Jamal Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can do this with you on a regular basis and pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Before we went to break, I did ask, it is Make a Gift Day. Yeah, Make a Gift Day. So I asked, what is something someone's made for you, like, or that you've made for someone? Gift. And Suzanne Ingham said cedar gifts, embroidery, cross stitch. We've got Stacey Ann Brown says, my friend made me a trinket box depicting our journey in Bermuda, highlighting some of the places we visited when we came here and highlighting different aspects of the culture that we have learned. I love that. Absolutely love that. Miss Ellen Kate Horton says, I have knitted sweaters for Christmas gifts for my family. These are time consuming, therefore are extra special. Lots of love poured into each one. They last forever. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, folks. Well, we've got a very special guest today. He's the second person we have, and we've got quite a few people coming on to speak about this most important, cultural project, Thoughts Become Things. And if you haven't seen it, you can go on YouTube, check it out. But let's give a warm TDH welcome to Mike Simmons. He's coming on. We're speaking about Thoughts Become Things. And before I bring him on, just a yes or no. Audience, have you, just a yes or no real quickly as I bring him in, have you seen the film Thoughts Become Things? While you're answering that, let's also give him a big round of applause and give him a warm TDH welcome. Welcome, Mike Simmons. Hey, Mike, what's happening?
What's happening? What's going on?
Well, first off, I'm going to do something. Not embarrass us, but folks, Mike and I go so far back. Mike, people are not going to believe me when I say this. I think we went primary school together. We first played football together. Yeah, we played football, folks. I mean, one of us looks like he did. The others, don't worry about me. But yeah, Mike was good, man. But life happens, man. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see. But yeah, we were together, prospect together. But for those who don't know you, tell us a bit about your background and what it is that you do.
So, for the purpose of what we're discussing today, I am I can't even say founder or president, but I run Bermuda Donquili, which is a West African drum and dance group here in Bermuda. I run it with Zulima Bean and everyone else because it's a family, so everybody takes part in the group. And besides just performing, we also bring energy, I guess you can say, to whatever event that we're at. Sometimes it's not for performance, sometimes it's to help other people celebrate certain milestones or certain things. Like we've did initiation, people that are doing initiations for their children and so forth. We've participated in that. We did weddings, we did other cultural things.
Indeed. I thank you for pronouncing it again, Donquili.
Not a problem.
But let's go a bit deeper on it, and because we've got some people in the audience who have yet to see it. Stacey Ann Brown, Suzanne Ingham, Marilla John have yet to see Thoughts Become Things. Polly Rich has, which is great. Let us know your thoughts about the film Polly Rich. But for the purpose of this conversation, before we get into the actual film, go a bit deeper about what Donquili is and what's the deeper purpose behind the dance that you're teaching and performing throughout Bermuda.
So, like I said, Donquili is a West African drum and dance performing family. And depending on what dance, because it's not just one dance that we do, each dance has its purpose, has its place in the community and what it's used for. And then there's also mass dance as well, which has its separate purpose. And, everything isn't always given or talked about. Some things are within that society and in that place, and then other things are community based. So it goes pretty deep, but everything we're not always privileged to discuss or talk about.
Indeed. Thank you for that. And I think in you saying it goes deep it's important for people to understand. And I experienced this. I shared this story about Gombey's before, that when I worked in Bermuda tourism, we would have these familiarization trips and bring people down, and we would work with the hoteliers. Many of the hoteliers were not Bermudian. They had no connection to what was cultural, especially to many Black Bermudians. And the Gombeys, they love to make the Gombeys a part of things, but there's no appreciation from some of them. And one hotelier pretty much made a derogatory remark, like, I'm not going to repeat it here, but basically was just like, oh, okay, that's enough of this crap stuff like that. I want people to understand that African dance isn't just about choreography, and it carries, a history and spirit and meaning. How do you help the students you're teaching understand what the movement represents, not just how to do them? Like, we're not just here performing, but we're doing it with a understanding of what this means for our culture and deeper history.
Yeah, so for our students, we definitely have to give them connection to it and the purpose of it. So each dance would have a meaning and why it's done, so that will give it purpose. And once you can connect the purpose to them, then they can see it in a different light and see more of its importance. So like the dance that we use for Thoughts Become Things, that dance was called Soko. Soko is part of an initiation process. So in the months leading up to boys, actually, initiation for boys, leading up to their initiation process, you would hear Soko go from village to village playing that rhythm. And it's really used to call and to gather all the young boys, and they would go as a group to start the initiation process out in the wilderness, not in the village with everybody else. And the men all go together. So it's almost like a boys' club, if you want to, bring it down to an easier term for other people to understand. And the fathers are not allowed to go. You're going with your uncles, like how Bermuda, you say, oh, this is your uncle, your dad is your friend, or your godparents. That's who you go with. And you go into the forest and you learn what it means to become a man. And then even a part of that process is different parts of Soko. Then there's another rhythm that goes into this process called Soli, which is done after the circumcision process. So everything has its purpose. And once you can connect it to them or show them like the other side or how we look at it here, to connect it like that, then that's the way that we will get our students to understand what's going on and what's happening.
Thank you. Thank you. And audience, if you have any questions or comments for Mike Simmons, please send them through. In Thoughts Become Things, Donquili portrays African ancestors who crowned the young Gombey. What does that moment symbolize to you culturally and spiritually?
For me, that symbolizes passing of the torch. As for me in Donquili, it was passed on to me. So it's the same symbolism of passing down the culture, passing down the history, passing down the spiritual side of it, and giving purpose to someone or to a group of people. Even the mass, even when it comes to Gombeys, you're passing down a lineage Most times it's done by a particular family. Back then, most groups were started by a family, and it gets passed on to the next person in that family.
Mhm.
So even though, we're doing it as Gombeys in Bermuda, even in West Africa where I visit and go, it's the same thing. It's a family that does this mass dance.
Mm.
So it's all tied in. We're not doing anything new that we haven't been doing for many, many years, way before us.
Mm. How did you approach creating the ancestral presence on screen? Like, what did you want viewers to feel in that scene through movement, body language, and energy?
For me, actually, it was more so Mark's vision of what he wanted to feel, and he told us what he was looking for. So for me as the drummer, I have to bring that energy from within out onto the drum so that it brings everybody together. The drum that I play is called djembe, but the original name is Unka J, Unka Bay, which means come together and gather in peace. So
Mhm.
whenever I approach my instrument, I have to have a clear mind,
Mhm.
a clear soul, a clear spirit
Mhm.
to do what it's supposed to do. If it's to bring people together, if the mass is to protect or for whatever it is, I have to also have that in my mind. The dancers have to have that in their mind of what's our purpose or what we're coming to do at this point. So once Mark set the tune for what he was looking for, then we embody that together to bring that spirit, to bring that energy into that space for what he asked for.
Mm. And the film bridges heritage and identity, especially for young people. What impact do you hope that the imagery ancestors affirming the Gombeys has on Bermudian youth watching it?
For me, I hope that they get more of the seriousness of it. Um, as we have had previous discussions of, I've heard on heard like the different things between the Gombey who had on all white for that event and, how people appropriate or people take pictures and, but also about protecting the Gombey. I
Mhm.
think once we as a community take it more serious of what we're doing and how we're representing it and portraying it, then the youth can also take it more seriously in what they do, taking it beyond just performing and using it what it's used for to uplift, depending on your mass, used to uplift, used to protect,
Mhm.
used to gather people together. So
Mhm.
that's what I hope that the youth would get from it.
Indeed. And audience, again, if you have any questions or comments, you can send them through. Um, we've got on Instagram, Inga Mendes says, Baba Mike, let our village know and may your message be far reaching for such a time as this and taps into our manifestation of the spiritual to this realm. We've also got Rashida Godwin says, looking forward to having Donquili at Kwanzaa event on Sunday at Treehouse and enjoying the energy and vibes. Shay, uh, real quickly, just
Okay.
speak to us about how important it is to actually be involved in different events throughout Bermuda, spreading not just the message of thoughts become things, but be like just our traditions and cultural uh, uh, history.
Sorry, repeat that.
Yeah, I was asking, you're attending the event, the Kwanzaa event. Just speak to the importance of even beyond thoughts become things, but promoting and being involved in such events. The importance of making sure that you're attending these events and how you. I think I saw you perform at Bacardi, the Black Vendors event one year, or a group similar to yours. Why
hmm
is it important to attend these events?
Well, we're also sort of selective on the events that we choose as well.
Hmm.
Definitely for Kwanzaa, we understand that that's something that was created for us by us. So that is something that we love to support because it's continuing to bring awareness to our culture, our heritage. Like we always say, you heard people say that Bermuda has no culture.
Mhm.
Bermuda has a lot of culture. We think, for me, from what I've seen, we think it's Bermudian, but most of our culture, the things that we do, it goes all the way back, lineage, African culture.
Mhm.
And it's things that we do as Bermudians
Mhm.
that other people don't do. Even small things like the Gombeys,
Mhm.
we see how it looks different in different countries. So
Mhm.
once we change it, yes, it's still a part of a further lineage, but we're still carrying it. And things should evolve. Everything doesn't stay the same.
Mhm. I want to go back to something you said, and I just want to, before we wrap it up, kind of not put you on the spot, but you mentioned, the controversy about the Gombeys that we do face with our culture and protecting it. And I asked you that question, and you answered it perfectly about being selective of what events you do choose, because I think that's another argument. People feel like the real true Gombey experience is, following the Gombeys through the streets of Bermuda at night versus performing at a hotel for people who can't appreciate it. How do we protect our culture while sharing it with people?
Mm. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. Protect it. I think the true experience is through the streets. I think it is in Bakaton, in the backyard. I don't I don't think everybody should be privy to everything that we do.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think it's that simple for me. That's how you protect it.
Indeed.
Use it for what it's supposed to be used for, take it serious for what it is, and
Mhm.
apply it
Mhm.
properly.
Mhm. Indeed. You just gave me my quote of the day. uh, Before you head out, Mike, just remind people where they can go to watch the film, or how to reach out to you if they want to learn more about Donquili or African dance, or maybe want to have you all perform.
For Bermuda Donquili, we can be reached at Bermuda Donquili, BermudaDonquili at gmail.com, by email. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. The contacts are there. The email should be there. Telephone number should be there if you want to reach out to us. We do dance classes, West African dance classes, on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. at the youth center.
Mhm.
So you can find us there. You can come to the Kwanzaa event this Sunday at the Treehouse. You'll find us there. And to see the film, go to YouTube, search Thoughts Become Things, give it a look, give it a like, a thumbs up, share it so more people can see it and get the experience of it.
Yeah. Mike, thank you so much, man. This has been great. And audience, when I ask you to share this conversation with your friends, family, and colleagues, help us beat the algorithm so that as many people as you know have access to conversations like this. They're healing to me, because I think when we have people like yourself, Rashida Godwin, Steph, and so many others doing the work that wasn't in our schools when I was young, right? Doing that work, we need to make sure that we elevate and amplify your voices and your sound. So thank you for doing this early this morning, and I'll definitely be in touch with you about some other things, because yeah,
Okay.
the dance don't stop.
It doesn't.
All
Thank
right.
you for having me as well.
Have a great day, Mike. Talk soon.
You as well.
All right, Mike Simmons, folks. Folks, if you appreciated that conversation, do us a huge favor. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. But we're going to take our final break. We'll come back. We've got a daily play, and we'll wrap it up. But once again, if you appreciate it and you're streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, give us a thumbs up, love, like, share the link with your friends, family, colleagues, and we'll be back after this.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Nova's Ark Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
All righty, welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to Mike Simmons and everyone involved in Thoughts Become Things. We're looking forward to more conversations with some others over the coming weeks as we close out the year. But thanks again to Mike. And folks, again, if you appreciated that conversation, whatever platform you are streaming on, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure as many people as you know have access to these most important community conversations. It is time for the Daily Play. But before that, I want to give thanks to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and HSBC Bermuda for ensuring we can do this with you on a regular basis and pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. Bermuda Trivia actually is being sold this week at the Skyport concert down there, and I'll speak about that in a minute. But you can pick up old and new editions of Bermuda Trivia, Shoe by the Crossword Puzzle, and the coloring book. So follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, are you ready? It's a holiday trivia today. Here we go. What was Brenda Lee doing around the Christmas tree? Oh. I have to flip the card to get the answer. All right. Jewel Eve got it. She was rocking around. I think that's the song. Rocking around. I think that's it. So everybody got it. Stacey Ann Brown, Pam Wade, Dr. So I was the only one who had to kind of cheat. All right, cool. You all got me on that one. But no, that's a pretty cool song. I think I heard it in Home Alone back in the day. I think Kevin was dancing to that back in the day. Rocking around the Christmas tree, Christmas holiday, something like that. I'm mumbling the lyrics because I don't know it. But yeah, all right, Julie, she got me. All right, folks, let's wrap it up. So real quickly, the discussion this morning. Look, 18 years for almost $700,000 worth of drugs. Drugs that have wreaked havoc in our community. I have no problem with the sentence. And I think most people don't necessarily have a problem with that sentence. I think the issue is that we see what we deem more serious crimes, people receiving less. I think that's the disconnect. And so I think it's important to have these conversations with those who are in charge of legislation to change this. Because it would be unfair to say a person who is smuggling anything that causes harm to others is not a danger to our community. So I just want to say that we need to frame our discussion to focus on longer sentences, but also rehabilitation. Rehabilitation. I think that prison should be used to rehabilitate, not cage people, if that makes sense. And I know some folks will say, well, not everyone can be rehabilitated. Yeah, there will be special cases. as far as the discussion with Mike, I really appreciate, you all know me. I love the cultural conversations with guests like Mike. These conversations warm my heart simply because these were not things that when I was a young person, we discussed in school in different spaces, right? We didn't have these discussions. Maybe in some of my family discussions, we had them, but not out in public. I don't know if it was a fair thing or if it was just not normalized. But I appreciate the team who's behind Thoughts Become Things being open to having these discussions and a deeper meaning of the work that they did as part of this film, but the work that they do beyond this film. So thanks so much to Mike. Before I give you daily inspiration, if you missed the first day of the choir event at Al F. Wade International Airport, put on by Skyport, you missed the time. And maybe I'm biased, but it was, the young people were so cute. They were great, right? Maybe I'm biased, but as I said on my personal socials, Bermuda Institute is just in a league of their own. They don't come to play. I mean, they performed, but I enjoyed all of them. The first one I saw, Dalton E. Tucker. Awesome performance. And they're not just singing, they're dancing and stuff. It was awesome. They'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, and then Friday, where there will be more schools performing. I believe the Barclay Institute, you've got Work Academy, quite a few schools coming up. I didn't see Cedar Bridge, which kind of offends me. I might have to talk to Cedar Bridge. I might have to call up Cedar Bridge and say, you can't put together a 10-person choir? I mean, do you need me to come out of retirement? Anyway, but if you have an opportunity, folks, if you're not able to make it physically to Al F. Wade International Airport, you can probably you can probably watch online. I'm saying call. Watch online, which is what I did. So support our young people. I shared it on Facebook because, you know, Mike said something earlier during the conversation about, you know, people saying that we don't have any culture. And I want to go to a comment that said that Maria Simonetti said, when I lived in New York, people always said Bermuda has no culture. That boggles my mind. People have to lean in and learn and listen, and they won't say that so quick. This is part of our culture, man. Bermuda Institute, what they do is a part of the culture. And I want people to understand, like, if you start saying things, but that's the Gombey is not Bermudian, that's African. No, culture is what you do with things. Like Corey chicken. I remember Jamaicans saying, oh, Corey's Jamaican. No, it's actually Indian, but the yellow Corey you do, that is part of your culture. The way you do it is your culture. What we have to understand is the way we do things differently, that's our culture. Because every culture pretty much takes something from someone else, you know. No culture stands alone where it's just us. Something was taken, even if it's a specific food. Maybe the pepper they use, we use a similar pepper. Maybe the meat you use, well, we use this kind of meat. The dancing, the look, the dress. So I think we need to be more kind to ourselves. But get out and support these young people. Because you never know. You may have the next person involved in Thoughts Become Things too that you'll be supporting. Go down to the airport or go watch online. All right, daily inspiration. Man, I'll just leave you with the entire conversation that we had with Mike this morning. That's the daily inspiration for me. Thoughts become things, folks. And also what Mike said to me. We need to get out and visit other places to see how we are all connected culturally. One of the things that I really appreciate about the family I came from is that I was allowed to travel and see other places and be actually not a tourist, but another human being in these spaces. I remember the first time I ever saw like what I thought was poverty was visiting a place, and I was like, I understood privilege because I saw children my age and younger washing their clothes in a river. And I remember my mama saying to me, you think you have it hard because I asked you to take out the trash. But going beyond that and learning people. Culture is a beautiful thing. And it's not about disliking each other for our differences, but embracing our differences. That's what makes us whole. I stole that from Trevor Noah. I've said that to you before. All right, folks, I've got to let you go because you've got to go to do more important things than listen to me. So don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Linda's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we were able to do this with you on a regular basis and pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.